What's up, fam? Hope you're doing fantastic out there. Today we have a very special knife coming way of our good friends at Traditional Pocket Knives, TPK, C. Reisner Cutlery, whatever you want to say. They did allow me to make a purchase a little bit early so I could get this knife in front of the camera before it released. So the knife does release today as you're watching this, July 1st at 2 p.m. Eastern. Make sure y'all are ready because these things are going to sell out very, very fast. There's a lot of retailers that have them. I would suggest going to see TPK, of course, first, and then, go from there. But anyway, this is the Gateway series from Jack Wolf Knives, and specifically the very first, which is the Barlow. So forgive me as I try to get things figured out here. So I am using a completely new setup. Hopefully you guys have noticed that already. But yeah, so let me know what y'all think about the new setup in the comments down below. Let me know if you like it. Hopefully you do. But let's go ahead and take a look at this knife. We'll try to get a little bit closer here just so we can see it, talk about it a little bit more. So again, this is the first release of the Gateway series, and he chose to do a Barlow pattern, which I really like. I've always enjoyed the Barlow, which is part of the reason why I wanted to get this one. And Jaleesa convinced me to do the abalone. I was looking at one of the other variations, one of the other variants, excuse me, either the carbon fiber or the smooth blue bone. So there are 5 different versions of this knife. There's the abalone that you see here. And then there is the green canvas micarta, that you're seeing across the screen now, the rosewood, and then my 2 favorites, the carbon fiber and the smooth blue bone. All versions are the same price, $70. You're looking at 14C 28N steel and a standard kind of a machine satin. Just again a very standard knife here, and that's why you're paying that $70 versus some of the other price tags that you would see on Jack Wolf knives. Now, with that, this is not a modern traditional. As you can see, it is pinned construction. This is a legitimate traditional knife. So, just keep that in mind. If you're expecting to see a modern traditional, this is not it. This is his, his budget, his Gateway series to get you to feel the quality that a Jack Wolf can offer at a much, much reduced price. 2.98 inches on your blade length, 2.67 on your cutting edge, 6.85 overall, 3.1 ounces. It's got a pretty decent pull weight. It's not too terrible, especially with that long pull. So really nice, easy slip joint to open. It does have stainless steel bolsters and liners, and then nickel silver pins and shield, I believe. Again, this one has the abalone here. And there you can see the 14C branding and the Jack Wolf branding. 14C is done at 58 to 59, so done right. It's done right there in that perfect spot. So really, really nice job on this knife. Again, the walk and talk is really nice, easy to handle, not terrible, not too strong of a pull. And I played with these at Blade Show, and they were all about the same weight. So I'm expecting that would be a kind of a feature on this knife, is that they all have around that same weight, which is really nice. I do really enjoy the weight of the pull on this knife. Let's go ahead and do our typical close-up here. And yeah, see this thing nice up close and personal. So here you can see all of your gapping and everything is non-existent. I mean, there is no gapping. There's no level change. There's nothing. The pins are perfectly flush. The badge is perfectly flush. I mean, just absolutely astonishing work. The milling pattern there on the bolster is perfectly even. Go on down here. We'll take a look at these. Again, all your pins are perfectly flush. Absolutely perfectly well done. Take a look at your back spring, and it is, again, absolutely perfect. Come around to the bottom of the knife, same thing. Take a look at our centering, which the centering is spot on. Let me get it even there. Centering is perfect. Take a look at the non-shield side. Again, everything looks really good. I like trying to get some light reflection on this so you can see. A lot of times that reflecting will show you some things that the naked eye couldn't normally see. Now I have carried this knife a little bit, so if you'll see little things like that right there, that is actually from me carrying the knife. So I do apologize for that, but if you look in unboxing, I looked at this thing nice and up close, and it was very much perfect. Just really, really cool. Taking a look at the machining here on the blade, on the tang and everything. Everything looks great. Half stop is perfect. Spring height on half stop is perfect. I feel no difference there. Again, same thing on full open. No issues there. Let me get my fingerprints off of the blade here so we can see it in all of its glory. So, clip point buoy, or excuse me, clip point Barlow. Really nice swedge here on that. Long pull. And there you can again just see that standard kind of a machine satin. It is a really nice machine satin, but it is just a machine satin, which I wouldn't expect anything less or anything more for that $70 price point. And there you can see more branding, the 14C branding. Sharpening is done very, very well. Let's see if we can get it up here a little bit closer. Get a little bit of schmutz there on the edge of the blade. Again, my apologies. Like I said, I did carry the knife. I wanted to make sure that it carried in the pocket well. Everything looks good. Sharpening, I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting the lighting right here. So we're looking at the heel here of the blade. Just want to make sure that our sharpening is even from one side to the next. It's pretty close. I'd say it's good. Then you're really looking at nitpick stuff, but I'd say that is certainly good for me, for sure. Take a look on the inside. So you can see what is missing, if you're used to some of the Jack Wolf stuff, is there is not a stop pin. So this uses a traditional kick instead of the stop pin. But the milling and everything, the machining on the inside looks really good. The pins are not, sticking way out or anything like that on the inside. Everything is finished very, very nicely. Quite pleased with that and all. Anyway, let's go ahead and get back to our full zoom here. So yeah, I really enjoy this knife quite a bit. It has become one of my favorite traditional knives to carry. I typically don't show off the traditional stuff when I'm carrying it just because it's too difficult. Usually I'm just carrying my phone and using that as as my camera. It's too hard to open up a slip joint on camera when you when you only have one hand. So speaking of one hand operation as far as closing works fine. Again, the pull strength isn't terrible, isn't super strong or anything like that. It's like I said, it's kind of right there in the middle. A little bit lighter than what I've seen on things like the QSP Hedgehog and QSP Penguin slip joint. So it's just, and I just mean slightly lighter than those. So I did not bring any of those out here to kind of compare with, just because it's honestly no real point. It's a slip joint. It handles like a slip joint. It works like a slip joint. Feels great in the hand. I have absolutely no issues with how this feels in the hand. Again, it's a Barlow. It's a traditional Barlow. If you like how a Barlow feels in your hand, you're going to love this knife. Price tag is right. I've made a bold statement that I think this is probably one of the best sub $100 or sub $150 slip joints. And the reason I had to go to the over 100 price tag is And some of the QSP slip joints are a little more than $100. Some of their 14C slip joints do cross over that $100 price point. Not many of them, but some of them do cross over that $100 threshold. So for a budget slip joint, I think this is one of the best ones. Now, I do know that the QSP Hedgehog and S90, I'm not saying this competes with that because the materials aren't the same. But like for any of the knives that are out there that have D2 or 14C or N690 or whatever other random blade steel, and have things like stainless bolsters and whatnot, this knife is a direct competitor, and it competes very, very, very well. I really have no complaints with it, quite honestly. Like I said, the fit and finish for the price tag is insane. You're talking something that's, only what, 10, at most $20 more than a lot of the Rosecraft knives out there, and $10 on average cheaper than the cheapest QSP Hedgehog. I think the Hedgehogs are around $80 for the cheapest ones, and it uses 14C, which is definitely, in my opinion, better than D2. I'm not a hater of D2. I actually really do enjoy D2, especially when it's done well. But if I am given the opportunity to have 14C over D2, then I am certainly going to do that. And yeah, and you get all the materials. Whether it doesn't matter what you want. If you want wood, you got it. If you want bone, you got it. Micarta, you got it. Carbon fiber, you got it. Yeah, this one made me a huge fan of the Jack Wolf slip joint. I've got several Jack Wolf knives. I have not owned any of his slip joints. I do have one on its way now. I was able to get a pretty smoking deal on one. So I do have one of his slip joints coming, but I've been a fan of his locking knives for a while, since they started doing them, and I'll stand behind that. I think his locking knives are fantastic. I've just never been the biggest fan of the slip joints, because for me, for as often as I carry a slip joint and as the work I put a slip joint through, typically I don't want I don't need a $300+ slip joint. That's just me. There's a lot of people that really love them, and I will admire them for sure. I think they're gorgeous and everything. They're just not for me. This is for me. I've got a couple of sub $300 slip joints that are in the $200-ish range. My Matuya slip joints, and those are. That's really pushing it for what I'm comfortable spending on a slip joint. Now, if it's a custom or whatever, then that's something different. But as far as a production slip joint, that's not. It's just not something that I am comfortable with. But yeah, these are great. These are absolutely freaking great. I think if you are at all a fan of a slip joint, you need to buy one. He did a really, really stinking good job. He should be really proud. I talked to him at Blade Show. He definitely seems like he is proud. And from what I understand, there's more to come. A lot of potential with this line. Me personally, and even I'm going to kind of mirror what Kevin said. He just actually verbalized it. I thought about it, hadn't actually said it. But something like this, similar materials with different blade steel. Hey, bump that price up a little bit, but get a better blade steel. That's kind of jiving a little bit. Hey, put on something 14C and maybe some fat carbon or some camo carbon, bump that price up just a little bit, but get that really premium material on the handle or for the scale. Keep the stainless steel handles. I honestly I don't care that if it's titanium or whatever here on a traditional. It doesn't bother me, especially when it's pinned, because it's not something where you're going to take it apart and anodize it. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I personally, I think this is an absolute freaking home run. And I cannot wait to see, like I said, I cannot wait to see what the rest of them come out as. I'd love to see a doctor's knife, some sort of Warncliffe, whatever, or even just a sheep's foot Barlow. I think would be just absolutely fantastic. So let's go ahead and do some real quick size comparisons here. And this is where the new system's going to come in real play, because you guys are seeing straight top down, which hopefully helps you out a lot. Now, I'm not going to be able to do pivot to pivot because, well, there isn't a pivot on a traditional, but there you can see it with the Pyrite, and here we are with the Drop Bear. So you can see it is fairly the same size as those two knives. They're just a little bit longer overall than the Barlow here. Go ahead and bring in a larger knife. So we have a Militaw. There you can see that. Militaw is certainly larger. Go ahead and bring in one that is a little bit smaller than that. And we are going to go overall, so we're going to include the length of that the Bel Air there. It's got that pocket clip that sticks out there, so you got to include that in overall length for sure. Bring out another very, very common knife. Malibu. And we'll start getting into the big boys. Got the PM2. And I am still going to try to pick up a pair of 3, just so I can have that for size comparisons as well for you guys. I just have not haven't bought one yet. I will eventually. And then lastly, we have the MSI, which of course both of these dwarf that little Barlow. Yeah, so that's all I've got really for it. Like I said, there's not a whole lot to go over on a traditional. Got good walk and talk. Not a super strong pull, but still really good machining here on the back of the spine of the knife, or excuse me, on the tang of the knife where it intercepts with the spring. Really good machining there. Again, nothing to complain about. Let me know what y'all think. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Please remember to be kind, be humble, and be EDC. Y'all take care.